Namaste, everyone. This is going to be our slow flow and yin practice for this week. And today is actually June 20th. It's not only my son's birthday, he's turning 17 today, but it is the summer solstice. Oftentimes, the solstice is pegged to be the 21st, but it does depend year to year. It happens to be today. And that means it's the longest day of daylight for the entire year. And the odd thing that's occurring as well is tomorrow, which is the 21st, we are having the full moon. So we not only have the longest day of sunshine, but we have a big, bold, full moon occurring as well. Now, the sun represents the masculine and the moon represents the feminine. So we have both up in their glory right now. It's supposed to be a time of great joy. So chase the things that bring you joy and bliss to your life, and you won't go wrong. So this particular class is going to be both active and passive, and we're going to be building up for waterfall pose because this is a class that I designed that basically is inspired from. I went to Iceland for a few days before my retreat to France. And I knew that I was going to be traveling solo, and I decided to splurge on myself and to get me an expensive room at a really nice hotel at the Blue Lagoon, which is this kind of infamous place in Iceland. And some people call it a tourist trap. But if you look at the photos of it, it looks divine. It has this like icy blue shade to the waters, and it's thermal water, so it's nice and warm. And they even give you this little ritual, like a facial clay mask or something that you put on while you're in the waters. So I had planned on staying there, and it's in a complete lava field. Everything is blackened. But the day before I left, a volcano erupted. Now, there are tons of volcanoes in Iceland. It's called the land of fire and ice. So not only do they have a lot of volcanic activity, they also have a lot of wintry weather. So a lot of winds and a lot of snow. In fact, it snowed while I was there in June. So basically, when the volcano started to erupt, sure enough, I got a notification. The hotel, which happened to be really close to that volcano, had evacuated and shut down. So there goes my first hotel. That also meant the Blue Lagoon was going to be closed. So there goes my first night and all of my first day that I had planned on just kind of lounging and enjoying this lagoon. Now, thankfully, I've been doing yoga a long time. And I heard a statement years ago, and it said, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So I like to share stories because I think the big yoga goes beyond the limited aspect of just the poses that we're performing on the mat. When we're implementing the philosophy, when we're trying to become more flexible, not just physically, but mentally, as well as how we're navigating shifts and changes and obstacles in life, that's exactly what I had to put into play. So now that the first part of my trip had completely dissolved, and here I am about to board a plane to Iceland and have no accommodations, thankfully, I was able to breathe and stay calm and go, okay, you've done all this research. Now what? Plan B. Be flexible. So I contacted the hotel that I was going to be staying at Reykjavik, and the hotel in Reykjavik actually had a room for me. So score. Now I had accommodations. But what was I going to do with my time now that the lagoon was shut down? Thankfully, I had done a lot of research, and there's a second place that opened up a few years ago called the Sky Lagoon. It's not that pretty blue, but it is the local favorite, and it's to the north of the city. Thankfully, I was able to book and get into the Sky Lagoon. And it didn't just have the clay mask for the face, It have a 7-step ritual. And those of you that know me well know that I love rituals. So I got to go to this lagoon, not take any pictures. I left my phone in the locker. And I'm so glad I did because just about every tourist there had one arm up out of the water and was filming the whole time. And got to relax in the water and take my time with the ritual and have a little bubbly while I was there. And it overlooked the ocean, and it was the most phenomenal thing that I did in Iceland. And I would definitely recommend the Sky Lagoon. And even though there are tourists there, there were also a lot of locals. And then my puffin tour canceled. That's okay. I didn't get to go out on the ocean because of the high winds. So I stuck around the town. I went to museums. I did Rainbow Road. I did the famous church. I went to the harbor, did all the things in the city. And then the next day, I took a trek on the south coast and saw a load of waterfalls, black beaches, and a glacier. And it was so much fun. So we're going to be building up for a couple different variations of the waterfall pose today. Therefore, you need a block for sure and a bolster, and I'll meet you on the mat. All right, let's begin sitting, stacking the spine, resting the hands on the lap. You take that moment to sit down, close your eyes, start to tune within your body. Noticing how it feels. I've personally been a little stiff after taking a break from the practice. And if you've had any minor pain, aches, or ailments, just know that you want to practice with more caution or maybe baby those areas today. Notice the state of your mind and even your mood. And there may not need any shifting here, but maybe for some of us, we need to brighten our attitudes or release some restless nature from the mind, which can often get upset or riled up with the fullness of the mood. Continue to breathe in a deep diaphragmatic way. And begin to open up your eyelids. We're going to come up to stand at the front side of our mat. And when you come to stand at the front side of the mat, you're going to bring your arms beside you with the back of your hands facing forward. As you inhale, the arms are going to float up, your hips are going to tilt forward, creating a standing backward bend. And then as you exhale, you're going to bend your knees really deep, almost to a 90-degree angle, letting your hands flop to the floor and your head flop over your knees, like a standing form of child's pose. On your next inhalation, straighten your legs, stack your hands below the knees, lengthen through your spine, Ardha Uttanasana. And then as you exhale, softly bend your knees, not as deep as before. Bow over, dangling pose. Maybe giving a little rock to your head. Close your eyes and notice how the cheeks of your face may start to feel a little heavy, as gravity pulls them down. And if you feel like your eyes are squinting, feel free to just crack the lids of your eyes open. If you feel like your jaw or mouth is holding tension, feel free to part your lips. On my travel days in Europe, there would always be a point somewhere at some place where I would have to fold over and stretch the back of my legs, whether if it was at the train station, or at the airport. And just know you can do these poses anytime, anywhere. On your next in breath, take your left foot way back and immediately start to lift your arms up. Let the arms frame your face. Let your palms turn in to face each other. Find your stability. Stability comes through the foundation of the feet, but also activating your core. All right, from here, you're going to lower your right arm down. Just let it hang free. Pick up your heart center and start to arch back. Inhale, relift your right arm. Bring the head back on top of your shoulders. And as you exhale, bring your hands down to your hips. From here, you're going to bend your back knee more. And it's just going to hover this way. Hold and breathe. And that intensity starts to build up. We're going to tilt forward to bring the hands to the floor. We're going to slide or wiggle the left toes farther back. And then on the out breath, you're just going to slowly, ever so slowly, slowly but surely, sending that knee down to hover, down to hover some more until it finally touches the earth. And then you can untuck the back foot. All right, from here, you're going to heel toe the right foot over to the edge, stacking on palms or fists. And you can also come down to blocks or forearms. And then we're going to purposely wing out that front knee, picking up the mound of the big toe, rolling towards the outer edge of the foot. And this is where I'd like you to close your eyes and to consider how yoga has helped you to become more flexible. Maybe you've seen your plans dissolve in front of you, and yet you were able to turn to the breath. Maybe you were able to come up with that plan B pretty quickly, and finding it was just as satisfactory as the original plan. See, yoga is not just for posers. Yoga is about the big yoga, implementing what we learn on the mat and applying it to our lives. One reason I like to share personal stories. Few more breaths. It's okay to be in the discomfort for a little bit. Transformation's never comfortable. And I heard an astrologer say today, caterpillars may be able to turn into butterflies, but a butterfly can never go back to being a caterpillar. All right, let's come back onto the hands and we'll lean the hips back and bring the right knee to a tabletop position. From tabletop, curl your toes, lift the knees. Take Adho Mukha Svanasana. Maybe a little too early on to stretch out through all four limbs, but at least do this with your arms, even if you have to bend your knees. One more deep breath. And as you exhale, come to knees, shift forward, chest, chin, Ashtanga Pranam. Inhale, untuck the feet, slide through, remain on the pubic bone, come to cobra, elbows in, strong back body. Exhale, roll back over the feet, downward facing dog. Wow, all that popping was in my toes. Smooth out your breath. We'll take it to the other side. So that left foot is going to step through. We're going to lift the arms up, crescent lunge. Finding your focal point, even though it's going to shift in a moment. Lower the left arm, just let it hang free. Puff up your chest, lean your head back, and breathe. Inhale, left arm up, re-erect your spine. Exhale, hands to the hips, and bend your back knee. Once you begin to feel that slow burn starting to accumulate, stay a bit more. Now lean forward, take your hands down, wiggle the right toes back behind you, and then you're slowly going to start to descend your back knee. Remember, just an inch or so at a time. Take your time. And then once it touches, untuck the back foot, heel toe the left foot over. Discover where you want to be here. And we're taking that low flying winged dragon. So again, rolling to the outer edge of that foot. How flexible have you become in your journey of yoga? And not just physically speaking. Rely on your breath. It's the greatest tool you have when you're being told to maintain one of these poses. Slowly back our way out. Heel toe the left foot back towards the middle. Curl the back toes under, step it to the front of the mat. Fold into your dangling pose. Knees casually bent. Upper body draping down. All right, inhale, straighten your legs, come to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend the knees super deep. Take the standing form of Balasana. And then inhale, lift your head, stretch out your arms. Use the strength of your legs to rise up. Arch back. And then exhale, bring the arms back down beside you. Second sun. Inhale, arms float up. Arch it back. Exhale, knees deeply bent, holding standing form of child. Inhale, slide your legs up as you straighten them out. Half Uttanasana, and then bend the knees and return to dangling pose. Head is heavy. Neck and shoulders loose. The intention of loosening up the hamstrings. Bringing some space to the low end of the back. Bringing some energy and blood flow to give a little boost to the brain. Inhale, let come up, returning to crescent. Front knee aligned over the ankle. This time as the right arm comes down, we're actually going to try to hook a hold of the back thigh and gaze up towards the sky. If that's too much for your shoulder, your arm, your wrist, you could leave that out and just let it hang free like we did on the previous sun. Your next exhale, we're gonna twist and bring the elbow to the opposite side of the front knee. Pick up the back hand, place your palms together, lengthen your right thigh bone back, tuck and squeeze the right hip in. Exhale, unwind from the twist, plant the palms, step back, downward facing dog. See things differently in a new light. The best thing you can do when your travel plans start to fall apart. As you exhale, come to knees, chest chin, Ashtanga Pranam. Inhale, slide through and up, cobra. Exhale, roll it back, down dog. Taking it to the second side, left foot steps ahead. Build yourself into crescent. This time the left arm hangs back, maybe catches the back leg. Deepening the pose, creating your back bend. Exhale, start your rotation. Elbow to the outside, left hand comes around to join the other. Navel flies up over the thigh. Hip cinches closer to you. Find your drishti points and breathe. Unwind, hands down, back foot steps ahead. Keep the knee softly bent, folding to dangling, except this time the arms are gonna wrap around the legs and you're gonna slide them down your calves. Now your belly may actually touch your thighs. Don't worry if it doesn't. Inhale, prop, lengthen out, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, a deep bend in the knees, going into standing Balasana. Inhale, arms reach forward, lifts up, legs are strong, building you to stand, arch back. And then exhale, line up your vertebrae, let your arms descend. All right. So another thing that I would do standing at the train station, after hours of sitting and then having to sit for a few more hours, I would do some crescent lunges, but I would also catch a knee. So it's kind of like Padangusthasana A, except I would lift the knee even higher. If that's too much for you, you can of course do it this other way. And then I would inevitably feel like, oh, I need to take it behind me as well. So one hand would slide down to the foot. I would drop the knee, spin the hand around to find a grip around the big toe area, lifting the opposite arm, and then taking dancing Shiva. Remember, you're looking forward and your heart is shining forward. Inhale, come up, and exhale, release. So one of my students this morning said, really, you would do that at the train station? I'm like, yes, I needed to move my body. So again, never feel shy, anytime, any place, doesn't matter. Who cares what people think of you? Landing line down the right leg, cup and lift your left knee. because even just a little yoga goes a long way. Last night, my gentle restorative, um, I was showing them just simple things you can do when your space is really limited, like sitting on an airplane. All right, slide the left hand down, find your foot, switch it over to the big toe side, right arm reaching up to the sky, hinging forward, dancing Shiva. Inhale coming up, exhale release. All right, we're gonna separate the feet and we gotta drop into a squat. Ah, this is something that I typically do multiple times a week. And I think I did it twice in 17 days while I was gone. So if anybody's feeling an explosion of sensation in this pose, it's probably me. Oof. Try to stick with it. Three more breaths, guys. Yes, that was three more breaths. So one thing that we're also trying to gain through this practice is allowing that breath to really elongate. So instead of it's a really sweet, long inhale, followed by perhaps a longer, slower exhale. All right. So this is where I want you to have your block in hands reach. Because I want you to tuck and lift, and you're going to slide that block underneath your sacrum. Now make sure your toes still point ahead, that your knees are staying parallel. And let's let the arms come down and flip open. Even though we're resting for a moment here in supported bridge, we're about to fire it up. And we're about to bring in some pranayama that's very similar to panting. Think about when your dog goes wild outside or doing the zoomies and it comes back just smiling and panting at you. It's kind of the idea here. So we're going to stoke that inner fire, that inner sun for the solstice today. And the way I want you to do this is you're going to open your mouth wide, spill out your tongue, and then just start the panting. Release. Close your lips. Let your mouth naturally salivate. Swallow to lubricate your throat. Normally right now, we're going to do that twice more. The second time, as you're panting, I want you to feel that pumping action in your belly. Let's begin. Let it go. And this time when we do it, I want you to gaze and look at your abdomen to actually see the bellowing effect. So you're not just hearing, you're not just feeling, you're also looking. Let's begin. Let it go. Breathe normally. And let's fly the feet up. This is one of the waterfall poses, using a block, using our own exertion, lining up feet over knees, feet and knees over hips. So even though we were just heating the core, now we're cooling it down. And we're going to fire it up one more time. This time it's going to involve muscular engagement. Hold this waterfall 3 more breaths. It's 1. It's 2. It's 3. To send your feet down. Now flip your palms to turn face down. Stack your shoulders underneath your back. Plug your feet into the floor. Now fire up your glutes, tucking and lifting away from the block. Rolling your thighs inward. Hold for a few more. Slide the block away. Roll it down. And catch your knees. We are going to be moving to the wall, and you are going to want a bolster this time. So if you move your block out of the way, come up to sit so you can send your mat to the wall, short edge side. And in case you're unfamiliar with getting the legs up the wall, you actually want to kind of snuggle close to the wall with your buttocks. Come to the side of your mat in like a fetal position, and then roll onto your mat and send your legs up. Now we're not using the bolster quite yet. And if you want to stay sitting up just to see what I'm going to do, or maybe just listen. So we're going to come back and do this pose for Shavasana. Simple legs up the wall. But before we go there, we're going to bend the knees so that your feet are flat to the wall. From here, push your feet into the wall, tuck and lift like you were coming up into that bridge pose, where you can scoot the shoulders under the body, have your hands wrapped around to your low back, straighten out your legs with your feet to the wall and point your toes. Keep your head stable. Even though there's less pressure in your neck than a regular shoulder stand, it's still a shoulder stand. Even though it's not the full expression of this inversion, look at the angle of your body. If you are seeing a collapse in your abdomen, you're not using the tucking of the tailbone or your arm strength enough. Firm here as you hold peace, new consciousness is flooding into my being. Now to come down, we're going to bend the knees and flatten the feet to the wall. We're going to keep the hips suspended because now we're going to take that bolster and slide it underneath the back so that when you sit upon it, your sits bones are hanging off the far side closer to the wall, and then your legs are going to extend. Now notice the difference between the waterfall we did solo with the block versus the one here with the softer surface to rest on and the wall to support the feet. So that whole Iceland trip that I took, I've really been wanting to go to Iceland since the early 90s. So we're talking 30 years. And two other times I was supposed to go, it fell apart. This third go around, it felt like it was falling apart, but in the end, it actually came together beautifully. So close your eyes while you're here and picture being at some majestic waterfall. We're so lucky to live here in Middle Tennessee where there's a plethora of waterfalls within an hour or 2 hour drive. You don't have to travel a long distance, at least in these parts, to view a waterfall. The ones in Iceland are, I must say, are pretty epic. The water is so pure and so clean that we literally were just drinking the water. Now, it's possible you may just want to hang out here. Maybe this is feeling perfect. But if you're feeling like, I'd rather do legs up the wall, then bend your knees, tuck and lift, slide the bolster out, come down to the sacrum, and lift your feet back up. So you can choose one or the other. But know that either of these poses, a simple legs up the wall, Vaparita Karani, or waterfall, is great during the full moon period of each month. I'm gonna let you ground here, settle here, be contemplative here. you're enjoying this, and it is the perfect pose to practice around the full moon. Maybe you're needing to calm the nerves or create a little bit more mental space or clarity. Feel free to pause the video and remain. Otherwise, we'll bend the knees, roll out. It's the final thing I would like to share about this lunation. This full moon is in Capricorn. And every June, it is considered the strawberry full moon because this is when the strawberries are ready to be pulled from the vine. Now, you may know that June was named after Juno, one of the Roman goddesses, and she was the goddess of marriage. And we know that, especially in our culture, June is a big month for weddings. And April's full moon's the pink moon, May's full moon's the flower moon, this is the strawberry moon. But in some places, they call this the honey moon because with flowers come the honeybees, which creates the honey. So it's ready to harvest. And think about how the honeymoon is what the married couple takes after the wedding. So with that being said, have a beautiful full moon and summer solstice. Namaste.